Welcome back to my channel. My name is YOODOO and I currently live in between Australia and Japan with my 3 kids and my wife, and I make my income as a musician through streaming royalties and getting my songs used on TV shows, movies, and video games. And today I'm going to take you along a typical day in Japan, and something I've been doing for the past few years is looking for a home in Japan because my family and I spend a lot of time between Japan and Australia, so finding a cheap home to buy has always been a goal of ours for the past few years since 2017 when my wife and I lived in Japan. So today I'm starting the day off meeting a real estate agent to check out a few properties that I was interested in, and the first one is in the countryside. I love seeing random old things like this Japanese school student statue, even though it probably looks really scary at night. So this first house I wanted to check out was 1.2 million yen, which is about 120,000 Australian dollars or about 78,000 US dollars. And it comes with a very nice clean garage. One of the main things I'm looking for in a house is a separate studio or garage setting that I can set up a recording studio for my music, because that's one of the ways that I make an income currently as a stay-at-home dad. Because my wife and I have been looking for a home in Japan for a while now, every trip we make every year to Japan, we always try to see as many houses to see if we like it and would be a good fit for our family to buy. Japan has a lot of cheap houses, especially akiya or abandoned homes, but even though houses are cheap, most under $100,000, and even a lot less depending on the location, because the value of houses in Japan only decreases, it's only best to buy if you want to live in it or actually don't care about the value of the prices of the house. That being said, it's always been my dream and also my wife's dream to have our house that we completely own ourselves, even if it ends up being a vacation home in Japan. And that's because we can't afford to buy our own property in Australia with today's market, so having a house in Japan is realistic in my budget, even if we buy a cheaper house that needs reforming. And hopefully, even if I don't find anything this time, hopefully we can find something in the future that I can document the journey on this channel. And now I'm going to be quickly going to check out the Kura shed in the backyard. And even though this akiya house is a bit expensive, around 120,000 Australian dollars or 78,000 USD compared to other akiya houses, the reason why it's a bit expensive compared to the other houses in Japan is because it's in Kyoto, which is the city I was born in, so I have a close attachment to trying to find something in this area that I was born. After checking out the first house, I realized that after renovating the whole house, which would cost about 70,000 to 100,000 Australian dollars or about 50 to 70,000 USD, I wouldn't have much after buying the property, so I needed to find something that would be cheaper initially, so have more money to renovate how we want it. Now time to go back to have some lunch with my family. I love seeing random festival floats on the street. And as I walk to my favorite sushi restaurant, I see this Ultraman that's holding a paintbrush. This is one of my favorite chain sushi conveyor belt restaurants I go to called Hamazushi, because they have 100 yen plates of maguro or tuna and basic sushi rolls for $1 Australian or about 80 cents USD per plate. I grew up eating all these sushi train restaurants, and I love that my kids can also grow up eating and appreciating the cheap sushi trains. The only difference is that everything's touchscreen. And I always start off my meal with my free complimentary green tea. They all have a hot water dispenser that's at the end of the table so everyone can have green tea. Now I'm going to start ordering some sushi and using this touchpad. Now I'm very excited for the feast to begin. Let's go. Because I rarely eat raw fish in Australia, I try to compensate and eat as much in Japan when I'm back home. It's a way I get my proper dose of mercury every year. Now I'm just going to casually order my 5th plate of my $1 salmon sushi. One of the main reasons why I love coming here is because it's very family friendly and enjoyable for all adults and kids as well. I remember during my childhood, a lot of the times I would come here with my grandparents and we would eat a lot of sushi. I remember one summer when I was about in high school, I remember eating 50 plates of sushi, and yeah, that was a lot. But because most of these sushis are 100 yen to 160 yen, very cheap. And after having a quick lunch with my family, now we're going to go off to check out another property that's in Kyoto City. This next house is a lot smaller than the countryside house, but roughly about the same price at about 10 million yen, which is about $100,000 AUD or about 65,000 USD. I'm really torn about having a countryside house versus a smaller house in the city because they both have positives and negatives. A countryside akiya will be a lot cheaper and more room for a family, but a city house in town will be a lot more expensive, but a lot more convenient and even easier to sell if I choose to move on. Most houses we're looking for currently need a lot of reforming, and my budget of trying to stay close to 150,000 USD after all reforming and the cost of the house. Seeing what's available in the current market is really good for us to really decide whether the countryside house or city house fits our lifestyle with kids. You guys can let me know what you prefer and what's important for you when you look for a house in your country. I think I would prefer a small house or even an apartment in the city or close to town if it's a vacation home, but if it's a house that I permanently live in, having a lot of space is a lot more important, so that's what I think about while checking out properties to buy in Japan. One of the main things that my wife really likes is older traditional style Japanese homes with a lot of light and windows, and that's something I realized I really like only after she pointed it out to me, that I never knew how much it affects a house by how much natural light gets into a space. And because Kyoto houses are very wall to wall, it's very hard to find houses with good natural light. After inspecting all the rooms of this Kyoto akiya in the city, I definitely felt there was a lot of things I liked about it, but I was told by the real estate agent that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, especially upstairs. And even though I like it, I'm going to keep looking for more properties until I find the right one that I feel happy and excited to buy, because this house I just didn't really feel that spark when I went inside. Now I'm just going to get back on the local train, and I love seeing trains that have really cool designs like this. One of my favorite things about being in Japan is the fact that I can ride trains, and as you know on this channel, I love riding trains all the time. I remember in my early 20s going on the train and just listening to music and also sleeping in it just for fun. Now I'm just gonna head home and get some easy dinner at the grocery shops. Now that I'm home, I grabbed some of my merch that I sold on Instagram from my music, and I'm gonna be going to a 7-Eleven to post it off. This is one of the many benefits of Japanese convenience shops, is that you can post out items, and that's something that I always do when I sell merch. You can also pay your electricity bills, gas bills, and stuff like buying concert tickets. I always miss going to Japanese konbinis when I'm in Australia. Now that I'm at 7-Eleven, I'm just going to quickly park my bike and lock it, even though I really don't have to because Japan's very safe. And I have my box that I sold my merch that has my t-shirt and 2 CDs and a tape. And 7-Eleven, here I come. Let's go in. And after quickly posting out my items, now I'm just going to be going off to the next shop for grocery. Now that I got my groceries, sushis, and bentos from the shop, I'm gonna head home. Hopefully the rain doesn't hit. Unfortunately, it started to rain, so I got a bit wet, and yes, I'm holding my beer in one hand. Now that I'm home, my family and I can enjoy our grocery store food that we get in Japan. And I know you might be thinking, YOODOO, you already had sushi for lunch, why are you eating it again? Well, the answer is because I love it. I rarely eat sushi in Australia, so usually the first week I get to Japan, I overindulge in foods that I don't get to eat often, so I don't mind eating sushi for lunch and dinner. Especially grocery store sushi because they can sometimes be a lot fresher and tastier than chain sushi restaurants like the ones at Kura and Kappazushi. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.